Kick-ass facts! Our final episode of Women Who Dressed as Men to Do Cool Shit. Pew, 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 pew! In 1863, Frances Clayton, born circa 1830, journeyed across the Midwest seeking back pay owed to her late husband who had died during the American Civil War. It's giving me Dave Grohl vibes. She spoke to reporters along the way about her previous life as a Union soldier. According to Clayton, when fighting began, she and her husband decided to enlist together. The Minnesota couple joined a Missouri regiment with Frances disguised as a man under the alias Jack Williams. For months, the two fought side by side until her husband succumbed to a bullet on the front lines of the Battle of Stones River. Frances told reporters she had to step over his corpse during the conflict. Shortly after, she revealed her identity and was discharged from the Army. Several newspapers reported her story. Additionally, she had pictures taken of herself in a Union military uniform in 1865, which became some of the most well-known photographs of women soldiers during the Civil War. However, the authenticity of her story has been questioned by historians due to contradictory information reported in newspapers, such as which battles she fought in and which regiments she served in. There are no records that she ever received or sought a military pension. Dorothy Lawrence, 1896 to 1964. During the First World War, Englishwoman Dorothy Lawrence aspired to be an investigative journalist, and she contacted several British newspapers offering to work as a war correspondent in France. All the editors refused to hire her, believing that the work was too dangerous for a woman. She disguised herself as a man and, using the alias Dennis Smith, joined the British Army. For 10 days, she worked in the trenches on the Western Front and laid mines in no man's land under fire from shrapnel and shells. Dorothy began experiencing fainting fits, so she turned herself in and revealed her identity. Authorities were first suspicious that she was a spy and detained her in a French convent. Before she was released, she was forced to swear an affidavit promising not to tell the public how she fooled the British Army. That did not stop Lawrence from publishing an account of her experiences in her memoir in 1919. Rena Kanakogi was a renowned Jewish-American judo expert, but in 1959 she could not compete because she was a woman. She disguised herself as a man so she could participate in a YMCA judo tournament and won, defeating all of her competitors. After it was discovered she was a woman, she was forced to return the medal she had won. Even with this setback, she did not give up. She was determined, so she traveled to Japan to continue her judo training. She became the first woman to train with men at the Kodokan Institute in Tokyo. She became the founder of the first female world championship when it was hosted in the Felt Forum at Madison Square Garden. In 2009, 50 years after she was stripped of her first place medal, Rena was awarded a gold medal by the New York State YMCA, commending her for her contributions to the judo sport. The medal, she said, should have never been taken from me, but we're righting a wrong, and that's what counts. She passed away 3 months later. Honorable mention to Pope Joan. This is an honorable mention because while the story was believed for centuries, most modern scholars regard it as fiction. Pope Joan was, according to legend, a woman who reigned as pope for 2 years during the Middle Ages, 855 to 857. Her story first appeared in chronicles in the 13th century and was subsequently spread throughout Europe. Most versions of her story describe her as a talented and learned woman who disguised herself as a man, often at the behest of a lover. In the most common accounts, owing to her abilities, she rose through the church hierarchy and was eventually elected pope. Her sex was revealed when she gave birth during a procession, and then she died shortly after, either through natural causes or murder. The accounts state later church processions avoided this spot and that the Vatican removed the female pope from its official list and crafted a ritual to ensure that future popes were male. In the 16th century, Siena Cathedral featured a bust of Joan among other pontiffs. This was removed after protests in 1600. The last honorable mention is the story of Mulan. Scholarly consensus is that Mulan is a fictional character, probably developed in northern China in response to the greater independence women enjoyed there, whose legend was then revised in succeeding eras to reflect the values and challenges of the time. According to legend, Mulan took her aged father's place in the conscription for the army by disguising herself as a man. In the story, after prolonged and distinguished military service against nomadic hordes beyond the northern frontier, Mulan is honored by the emperor but declines a position in high office. She retires to her hometown where she is reunited with her family and, much to the astonishment of her comrades, reveals herself as a woman.